What if one of the most powerful companies in AI disappeared overnight? No warning, no transition, just gone. Today, we're exploring what would really happen if Nvidia collapsed tomorrow, and how it would reshape the future of artificial intelligence. The first impact wouldn't be theoretical, it would be operational. Most large AI models today are trained on Nvidia GPUs. Cloud providers rely heavily on them. Research institutions have built entire infrastructure stacks around them. Software ecosystems are optimized specifically for Nvidia hardware. If Nvidia collapsed tomorrow, existing chips wouldn't suddenly stop working. Data centers would keep running, but future shipments would freeze. Support and updates would become uncertain. Expansion plans would stall. The shock wouldn't be about today's operations. It would be about tomorrow's growth. Artificial intelligence is an industry built on iteration. Companies constantly train larger models, refine systems, and push scale boundaries. That requires a steady flow of hardware. Without Nvidia, the supply of cutting-edge GPUs would tighten dramatically. Prices would surge. Smaller AI startups would struggle to access resources. Large tech companies might hoard remaining inventory. Innovation wouldn't stop, but it would slow. Progress would shift from rapid acceleration to cautious optimization. The AI race would become less about scaling up and more about making the most of what already exists. Major cloud providers, the backbone of AI services, rely heavily on Nvidia hardware. Their infrastructure, software tools, and deployment pipelines are deeply intertwined with it. If Nvidia disappeared, these companies would face a difficult decision. Do they pivot aggressively to alternative chip makers? Do they accelerate in-house chip development? Or do they redesign their AI architectures entirely? Short-term, uncertainty would ripple through the market. Long-term, diversification would accelerate. Dependence on a single dominant supplier would suddenly feel risky. Nature abhors a vacuum, and so does technology. Companies like AMD, Intel, and emerging AI chip startups would see immediate opportunity. Demand would surge, investment would flow. Governments might intervene to stabilize supply chains or accelerate domestic chip production. In some ways, Nvidia's collapse could trigger a burst of competition. Innovation often accelerates when dominance disappears. The GPU landscape might become more fragmented, but also more diverse. Research labs would feel the strain, but they would adapt. Scientists are remarkably resourceful. They would optimize existing hardware more efficiently. They might explore alternative architectures, including specialized AI accelerators or unified systems like wafer-scale designs. Constraints often breed creativity. The absence of Nvidia could push the industry to rethink assumptions about scaling, efficiency, and architecture. Instead of asking, how do we train a bigger model? The question might shift to, how do we train smarter? Beyond AI, Nvidia dominates the gaming GPU market. A collapse would disrupt new graphics card releases, driver updates, and long-term support. Gamers wouldn't lose their existing hardware overnight, but the pace of innovation in graphics performance would slow. AMD and other manufacturers would fill gaps, but the competitive dynamic would shift. The ripple effects would extend far beyond data centers. The most important impact wouldn't be technical. It would be strategic. Nvidia's dominance highlights how much of modern AI infrastructure depends on a single company. If that pillar disappears, the ecosystem doesn't collapse, but it shakes. Industries built on concentration become fragile. Industries built on diversity become resilient. This hypothetical scenario forces us to confront a deeper question. Should the future of intelligence rely so heavily on one supplier? Yes, AI is not Nvidia. It is a field built on mathematics, research, and global collaboration. Hardware accelerates it, but it does not define it. If Nvidia vanished, the industry would slow, reorganize, and rebuild. New leaders would emerge. Architectures would evolve. The next generation of chips would be shaped by lessons learned. Progress would continue, just differently. If Nvidia collapsed tomorrow, the world wouldn't lose artificial intelligence, but it would lose its current center of gravity. And when gravity shifts, systems reorganize. The immediate aftermath would bring uncertainty and slowdown. The long-term result could be greater diversification, innovation, and resilience. Sometimes dominance feels permanent, until it isn't. If you found this thought experiment valuable, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay curious. Because the future of technology is never as stable as it seems. And understanding that is the first step to staying ahead.